For millions of years, Earth has carried secrets that no civilization has been able to fully decipher. Some of these secrets lie buried beneath layers of stone older than any species we know. Others hide within patterns, symbols, and anomalies that appear across continents separated by oceans and time. And some mysteries whisper of something far more profound, suggesting that humanity's story might not be the first story written on this planet. There are researchers who believe that before humans ever existed, before the rise of ancient kingdoms and lost empires, Earth may have been visited by an intelligence from beyond our world. This script does not claim such theories as truth. Instead, it explores the possibility that extraterrestrial contact might have occurred in Earth's deep past, long before recorded history. Imagine standing on a planet still forming its identity, a world shifting through violent storms, volcanic eruptions, drifting continents, and evolving life. Now imagine an advanced civilization traveling across the vastness of space, arriving not for conquest, but for observation, exploration, or experimentation. If such visitors existed, their traces would not look like ruins or machines. After millions of years, all visible structures would have eroded, sunk, or transformed into the minerals around them. What may remain are only subtle clues scattered across the geological record. Some fossils contain marks that resemble cuts made by tools far sharper than any prehistoric creature could produce. Scientists usually attribute these to natural processes, but a few researchers argue that some marks are so precise, so deliberate that they raise questions no one is ready to answer. There are also metallic objects, reportedly found in ancient strata, shaped with symmetry that natural erosion cannot easily replicate. Mainstream science debates these findings, and many dismiss them as contamination or misinterpretation. Yet even the debate itself shows how incomplete our understanding of Earth's early history truly is. If an extraterrestrial species did visit Earth, they might have observed the evolution of life from its earliest forms. They may have monitored biological experiments unfolding naturally across millions of years, or, in more speculative interpretations, they could have influenced life in small, subtle ways, leaving signatures hidden not in stone, but in DNA. Certain genes in the human genome appear abruptly in the evolutionary timeline. Some scientists believe these jumps reflect natural mutations. Others propose more unconventional theories, suggesting that evolution might not be as linear as we think. Ancient myths from every region of the world describe beings descending from the sky, teaching knowledge, shaping civilizations, and then disappearing. These stories could be symbolic, metaphorical, or cultural echoes of natural phenomena, but they might also represent distorted memories of something humanity witnessed long ago. Long before pyramids, long before temples, long before human languages formed their first words, Earth existed as a silent witness to cycles of creation and destruction. If extraterrestrial visitors were present during these cycles, they might not have interacted with early species directly. Their purpose could have been simple observation, or something far more intentional. We may never be able to confirm these possibilities, but the clues that remain, fossils, artifacts, myths, and unexplained patterns invite us to keep asking questions. Because sometimes, the truth does not hide in the answers we already have. It hides in the questions we are still afraid to ask. Across ancient civilizations, patterns appear that seem too consistent to ignore. Cultures separated by oceans, who never met, share myths describing luminous beings descending from the sky. Some portray them as creators, others as teachers. A few even warn that these visitors would one day return. Archaeologists often interpret these stories as symbolic or religious in nature. But there is another possibility. If extraterrestrial beings made contact with early humans, those encounters might have been recorded not as history, but as mythology. Imagine a small tribe, thousands of years ago, witnessing a phenomenon they could not explain. A bright object hovering in the sky. A figure emerging from blinding light. Voices that sounded more like vibrations than speech. To them, such an event would not resemble technology. It would resemble divinity. As centuries passed, the memory of the event would transform into legend. Legends would evolve into myth, and myths would become the foundation of early religions. But while stories can change, symbols often endure. Throughout the world, ancient carvings depict beings with elongated skulls, large eyes, and bodies wrapped in strange garments. Some civilizations portrayed these figures with wings. Others showed them emerging from stars or stepping through portals. These images could simply represent imagination, or they could reflect something witnessed long before written language existed. In Egypt, certain pharaohs possessed skulls with unusual shapes, sparking debate about their origins. In Peru, the Paracas skulls show elongated cranial structures that challenge conventional anthropology. Most researchers attribute these shapes to head-binding rituals, yet these rituals themselves may have been attempts to imitate something seen in the distant past. If early civilizations encountered a species with distinctly non-human features, they may have tried to reshape their own identities to resemble their sky teachers. Similar patterns appear in architecture. Structures like pyramids, ziggurats, and megalithic platforms appear across multiple continents. Some researchers suggest these shapes resemble landing platforms or energy-focused designs. Others believe their alignment with stars indicates advanced astronomical knowledge. Mainstream archaeology argues that humans achieved these structures through ingenuity, experimentation, and centuries of development. But the sudden emergence of architectural precision raises questions. Why did some civilizations gain advanced building techniques almost overnight? Why do many of these structures align perfectly with celestial bodies? And why do they share design similarities across cultures with no contact? Some believe these patterns point to a shared source of knowledge, not from Earth, from elsewhere. Even more intriguing are the ancient carvings that depict flying objects, disc-shaped craft, cylindrical vessels, beams of light, figures riding inside luminous spheres. These carvings do not prove extraterrestrial visitation, but they reveal how ancient people tried to interpret what they saw in the skies above them. For a primitive society, the sight of an advanced craft would be overwhelming. They might describe sound as thunder, heat as fire, light as glory, and movement as magic. As these interpretations echoed across generations, the physical details would fade, but the core concept would remain. Beings came from the sky. They interacted with humans, and then they disappeared. This raises a compelling question. If extraterrestrial visitors influenced early civilizations, why did they leave? Did they complete their purpose? Were they observing an experiment, or did they ever leave at all? Perhaps their presence simply shifted from physical to hidden, watching quietly, interacting subtly, or waiting for a moment when humanity might finally understand what their ancestors tried to record. The deeper we look into these mysteries, the more we realize that ancient civilizations may not have been primitive at all. They may have been witnesses to something far beyond our imagination, something not meant to be forgotten. As we move deeper into Earth's ancient past, new questions arise about the origins of early knowledge. Some civilizations possessed astronomical understanding far beyond what their level of technology should allow. They tracked the equinoxes with extreme accuracy. They mapped star systems invisible to the naked eye, and they aligned their monuments with celestial bodies that move in cycles lasting tens of thousands of years. Mainstream science suggests these achievements were products of observation, patience, and mathematical ingenuity. Yet some researchers wonder whether these capabilities came too quickly, appearing in sudden bursts rather than gradual development. It is as if knowledge was introduced rather than discovered. Ancient Sumer, considered one of the earliest civilizations, recorded star charts that include objects only confirmed by modern telescopes. The Dogon tribe of Mali described the Sirius star system with astonishing precision long before Western astronomy had the tools to verify it. In the Indian Vedas, descriptions of flying chariots called vimanas resemble aerial vehicles rather than metaphors. In Mesoamerica, the Maya demonstrated an understanding of planetary cycles more accurate than early European astronomers. These examples do not prove extraterrestrial influence, but they show an unusual pattern. Advanced knowledge appearing prematurely. Knowledge that seems to originate from a source beyond human experience at that time. Some theorists suggest that early humans may have encountered a visiting species who shared fragments of science, mathematics, or astronomy. The visitors may not have intended to teach civilization. Their purpose may have been communication, observation, or unintended cultural transfer. Imagine an advanced craft landing near a small settlement. The beings inside step out, examine the environment, and interact briefly with the locals. To the early humans observing this event, the visitors would seem like gods carrying the secrets of the stars. Even simple gestures could be misinterpreted as profound teachings. A light source could become holy fire. A device projecting images could become a divine symbol. A star map shown on a panel could become an ancient astronomical record preserved for generations. Over time, these scattered interactions might create the illusion of sudden leaps in human development. One tribe gains knowledge of agriculture. Another masters architecture with impossible precision. And across the world, similar stories emerge. Stories not connected by culture, trade, or geography. Stories connected by origin. The sky. If extraterrestrial visitors influenced early humans, they may have done so unintentionally, leaving behind only glimpses of understanding. But some theories explore a different possibility, a possibility suggesting intentional intervention. Certain ancient texts describe humanity being created, guided, or shaped by celestial beings. While traditional interpretations view these as spiritual narratives, others consider them symbolic memories of contact with advanced entities. If this is true, early humans may have been part of a broader experiment conducted across many worlds, a quiet observation of biology and culture evolving under different conditions. Earth, in this frame of thought, would be one of countless planets monitored for development. This interpretation implies that extraterrestrial visitors were not merely observers. They may have been architects, architects of knowledge, architects of progress, or perhaps architects of something even greater. Yet despite the fascination of these theories, evidence remains scattered and incomplete. Humanity is left with fragments, myths carved into stone, symbols aligned with stars, artifacts that do not fit their time, and questions that grow larger the more we try to answer them. If ancient civilizations truly received guidance from beyond Earth, then our search for truth is not just historical, it is cosmic, and the story is far from finished. When we examine the most mysterious structures on Earth, a new layer of questions begins to emerge. Some ancient constructions defy not only the technology of their time, but also our understanding of what early civilizations were capable of achieving. In Baalbek, a single stone block weighs more than 1,200 tons. Modern cranes struggled to lift such a mass. Yet someone in the distant past did more than move it. They placed it with precision on a foundation already aligned with astronomical markers. At Machu Picchu, walls fit together with such perfection that not even a sheet of paper can slide between the stones. Each block interlocks with curves and angles that behave like a mechanical system. But there is no record of tools or methods that could produce such engineering. In Egypt, the Great Pyramid of Giza contains mathematical proportions that match Earth's measurements with uncanny accuracy. Its alignment to true north is so precise that modern engineers still debate how it was achieved. Some believe these accomplishments reflect the genius of early humans. Others propose something more provocative. They suggest that these ancient builders may have inherited knowledge from a source beyond Earth. This theory does not claim that extraterrestrials built the structures themselves. Instead, it proposes that early civilizations were guided, instructed, or inspired by visitors whose understanding of physics, engineering, and astronomy surpassed anything known at the time. Imagine a prehistoric community witnessing a craft descending from the sky. The beings who emerge do not speak human languages, yet their gestures, tools, and demonstrations reveal concepts that early humans attempt to imitate. The visitors trace shapes into the ground. They align stones with the horizon. They point toward constellations. The humans who witness this event do not fully understand the meaning, but they remember the patterns. They teach them to their children, and the knowledge becomes sacred. Across generations, the original purpose fades, but the form remains. The pyramids may not be replicas of extraterrestrial technology. They may be echoes of a moment when humanity observed something extraordinary. In certain carvings and reliefs, ancient people depicted figures holding objects that look like tools, devices, or unexplained instruments. Some show rods, emitting beams. Others show spherical objects, carried with reverence. These images could be symbolic, but they might also represent attempts to portray technologies that early artists could not fully comprehend. Over thousands of years, such depictions evolve. What once might have been a technological device becomes drawn as a religious symbol. A helmet becomes a crown. A protective suit becomes sacred armor. A craft becomes a chariot of fire. Mythology absorbs the memory and transforms it. Yet something remains consistent, the belief that knowledge came from above. Another puzzle lies in the sudden disappearance of certain civilizations. The Maya, for example, left behind incredible achievements, but their decline remains unexplained. Some theorists suggest that if extraterrestrial visitors once influenced these civilizations, their departure might have contributed to societal collapse. The loss of guidance could have disrupted cultural structures built around celestial knowledge. This is speculative, but it raises a compelling idea. If extraterrestrial visitors came to Earth, their presence may not have been constant. They might have appeared during specific epochs, observed what they needed, and then vanished without a trace. Throughout Earth's history, species rise and fall. Continents shift. Climates transform. Humanity is only a recent chapter in a much older book. If visitors came here millions of years before humans existed, they may have witnessed cycles far beyond our comprehension. They may have watched dinosaurs roam. They may have studied early mammals evolving. They may have returned periodically to observe how life adapts and survives. And when humanity finally emerged, they may have taken interest in our rapid development. Not as creators, not as gods, but as observers curious about a species capable of questioning the universe itself. The more we uncover, the clearer one truth becomes. The past is not as silent as we once believed. It speaks through stone, myth, and mystery, and perhaps through the faint memory of beings who once walked this planet before us. As we look beyond physical structures and ancient myths, we encounter another layer of mystery hidden within Earth itself. This layer does not exist in stone or architecture. It exists in the code of life, deep within DNA. There are sequences that appear abruptly in the evolutionary timeline. Some scientists believe these changes result from natural mutations occurring over millions of years. But others note that certain genetic leaps seem unusually sudden, as if guided by an unseen influence. One controversial theory suggests that evolution might not always move on its own. It may be nudged, corrected, or redirected under specific circumstances. If an extraterrestrial species once visited Earth, they might have studied the development of life across multiple epochs. They may have monitored changes in biodiversity as the planet passed through mass extinctions and periods of renewal. And if they possessed advanced biological technology, they could have introduced subtle modifications that shaped the direction of evolution. Not to create humans directly, but to ensure life moved along a path that interested them. This theory, known as directed panspermia, or biological intervention, is not accepted by mainstream science, yet it remains a possibility explored by some geneticists and astrophysicists. If true, it would mean that the fingerprints of an extraterrestrial presence are not carved into stone. They are written into the blueprint of every living creature. Even more intriguing are fossils that show anatomical features appearing ahead of their time. Some creatures display structures that resemble technological design rather than natural adaptation. Other fossils contain metallic fragments whose origins remain disputed. These anomalies do not prove extraterrestrial activity, but they invite questions that traditional explanations struggle to answer. What if visitors studied species that existed long before humans? What if they collected genetic samples or conducted experiments that left microscopic traces behind? If Earth was a site of long-term observation, visitors may have returned during multiple epochs, each time gathering data, influencing development, or simply watching the story of life unfold. Civilizations rise and fall, but DNA remembers. Myths transform, but symbols endure. Artifacts crumble, but anomalies persist. If extraterrestrial visitors were present in Earth's distant past, their legacy might be more widespread than we realize. Not as monuments, not as relics, but as patterns. Patterns repeated across cultures, histories, and species. Even today, people report sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena. These encounters remain unexplained. Some mirror descriptions found in ancient carvings. Others defy conventional physics. While modern sightings cannot confirm ancient visitation, They suggest a continuity of presence, a possibility that whatever visited Earth long ago may still be observing from a distance, or from much closer than we think. Humanity has always searched the skies for meaning. We build telescopes. We scan radio signals. We listen for voices in the cosmic void. Yet perhaps the answers do not lie out there. Perhaps they lie beneath our feet, in fossils older than imagination, in structures built with impossible precision, in genes carrying secrets from eras long forgotten. If extraterrestrial visitors once walked this planet, their story is intertwined with ours. Their legacy may be hidden in every mystery we struggle to explain, and as we uncover these clues, we move one step closer to understanding who they were. We take aim, and whether they ever truly left. As we approach the edge of this investigation, one final question remains. A question older than humanity. A question whispered across civilizations, carried through myths, carved into stone, and hidden in the fabric of life itself. If extraterrestrial visitors came to Earth in the distant past, what was their purpose? Were they explorers searching for worlds like their own? Were they scientists observing the evolution of life across the galaxy? Were they guardians guiding young civilizations toward knowledge? Or were they simply travelers passing through, leaving behind traces without intention? The truth remains elusive. But what we do know is this: patterns do not appear by accident. Civilizations do not align their monuments to the stars without reason. Myths do not emerge with the same themes across continents unless they echo a deeper memory. And evolution does not leap forward in unexpected ways without raising questions. Every clue, every anomaly, every fragment of ancient knowledge points toward a possibility that refuses to fade. Humanity may not be the first species to ponder the mysteries of this world. We may not be the first to question the night sky. We may not be the first to wonder whether we are alone. Long before humans, Earth may have been part of a story that stretches far beyond our understanding. A story written in galaxies, carried by visitors, preserved in myth, and waiting for someone to listen. Modern science continues to explore these mysteries. New discoveries challenge old assumptions. Each fossil found, each artifact examined, each astronomical alignment measured adds another thread to a tapestry we are only beginning to see. Perhaps extraterrestrial visitors watched as oceans formed and mountains rose. Perhaps they returned after each mass extinction to observe how life adapted. Perhaps they visited early humans, not to guide them, but to witness a species awakening to curiosity. And perhaps they left because their purpose was fulfilled, or because their mission required silence. But if they once walked this planet, even for a moment in deep time, then the universe becomes a very different place. A place filled with travelers, a place filled with watchers, a place where planets are chapters in a much larger story. And maybe, just maybe, Earth is one of those chapters. In the end, we are left with a final thought. The sky has never been empty. It has always been watching. The same stars that guided ancient civilizations still shine on us now. The same constellations that inspired myths continue their silent drift. If visitors came once, they could come again, not as conquerors, not as saviors, but as beings returning to a world they already know. And when that day comes, humanity may finally understand the truth hidden across millions of years. The truth that we were never alone. We were simply unaware, waiting for the moment when the universe speaks again.